Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today for modern dating here. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. Let's give that chow. It's chow time.
The reason for the request for the modification was the fact that I did get let go from my job because of the school schedule.
So at this time, are you currently employed?
No, I am a full-time student. I do take 6 classes. So while the kids are in school, I am a full-time student.
It pains me to say, but if the shoes were reversed, I'd be saying the same thing. Is like, how is it fair that he supports you while you decide, or the children more, while you decide to go get a college degree for the future, when you got to duty support now, and not at his expense that you want to go get the degree? And I'd be telling him the same thing if he was here asking child support for you. You got 50-50 split. Why should she pay for you to go to school? I mean, I'm trying to figure out why that would be fair this way.
Oh, shout outs to the judge.
Okay. I just while we were married, I was a homemaker. So.
Oh, now it's gonna, the fake tears are gonna start coming out, huh?
Oh. I didn't leave the house. Mr. Acevedo actually locked me out of the house.
And why did that happen? Just because he wanted to do it?
Because he was upset.
And why was he upset? And isn't it true that that incident arose out of the fact that you had voluntarily left the house, abandoned your husband and your children for a period of time?
This case left me completely speechless. I thought I had seen almost everything, but evidently I was wrong. So they were an ordinary married couple with 3 children. And one morning, she left the house and came back a few days later, but her husband didn't let her in. Later, he found out that she was with somebody else, and this was the reason they got divorced. Fast forward, 3 years have passed, and now she remarried. But interestingly, she decided to stop working and go to school.
But she's remarried.
Since she no longer has income and knows that her ex-husband is well off financially, she took him to court for money. She believes that since she used to be a stay-at-home wife 3 years ago when they were married, he should provide the same lifestyle to give her time to study. And what makes this story interesting is that she is a married woman who believes she is entitled to her ex-husband's money. But thankfully, the judge was able to understand that her request made no sense and denied it. Her ex-husband has nothing to do with what she does with her life, so he shouldn't be the one sponsoring her studies.
The reason for the request for the modification was the fact that I did get let go from my job because of the school schedule.
Again, like, what does you losing your job or letting let go have to do with him?
Because the school schedule for the kids. So being that I do live so far away from the kids to school, they had to let me go because I was doing drop off and pick up and just waiting there in the line. So I did have to be fired from my job. So that was the reason why I had asked for some assistance.
Okay. So the visits had never changed. So you were still doing 1 week on and 1 week off.
So we were getting the kids, me and my husband were getting the kids an extra day. And so they would add up, but I couldn't tell you how many days they added up. And then it went back to being the same.
Why were you getting the kids an extra day?
There was just like stuff that was going on. I believe there was like sickness. I don't know. I don't remember.
So you want to hold this man accountable to pay you because your kids were sick and you had to take care of your kids for longer?
Which individual it was, but it was like a few days here and there.
So
But
were these extra days?
Modification was not for the visitations. It was more because of the financial, because I did lose my job.
So at this time, are you currently employed?
No, I am a full-time student. I do take 6 classes. So while the kids are in school, I am a full-time student.
Are you still married?
You do realize people have kids, full-time school, and work. There's a lot of those Americans out there, and they're still getting it done without needing support from some random stranger in a sense now.
Yes.
Does your husband work?
Yes, he does.
What does he do?
He is an iron worker.
Makes good money.
And you don't do like part-time jobs like Uber, DoorDash, something?
No, ma'am.
But why not?
Yeah,
Let's
right?
get this straight. She is a married woman who decided to stop working and isn't willing to get a part-time job, but still believes that her ex is the one who should give her money. I will be honest, if this wasn't recorded in that setting, I would believe this is a skit because it makes no sense.
It doesn't.
What made her think,
Like, you have a husband that works at Iowa, so he makes money, does he not? Like, why do you need this guy's money?
and believe that this was normal? Expecting someone who divorced you 3 years ago to still be financially responsible for you is insane. I wonder how this conversation between her and her current husband was. How did they concluded that her ex-husband should be responsible for this
He's probably some kind of douche, too. Was probably telling her, yeah, get the money so we can make it easier on us.
when they are both adult who should take care of their own business?
How close are you to graduating?
I still have 3 years.
And you can't do part-time schooling?
Part-time schooling, no. Because
Why?
every time I try to look for a job, everybody's like, well, you have to either be here early in the morning or you have to be here like really late. And my husband's commute
No, there's a lot of jobs that are more than willing to work with your schedule while you have kids in college and things. They're just not great jobs, but they're jobs.
it would leave the children unattended.
And have you talked to Mr. Acevedo about maybe taking them extra in that case?
We have not.
So instead of working and giving the man the kids more often so you can work, you just decided to not work and just have the man pay you more money? What the?
Right. Right. And then your schooling doesn't offer online classes?
They offer only certain online classes, but they're not with the degree plan that I have.
Once again, this is her problem, and she and her current husband should find a solution for it. Why does the man who divorced her 3 years ago have to do with this?
Right? Why does he have to pay for education now after you divorced? Like, maybe if you were still married together, sure, he'll pay for your education.
Her ex-husband has nothing to do with the fact that she decided to go back to school, or with the degree plan she chose. If her school schedule is making it harder for her to get a job to support herself, she either changes the course or find other solution, because place this weight
Or
on her
find a richer
ex-husband
husband.
isn't an option. She is acting as if everything is going against her, leaving her with no options but to request financial support from her ex. But this is not how
It's
things
that
work.
victim mentality.
I worked full-time and went to school full-time as a single mother, and
Yep.
the father did nothing. It's definitely doable. They just want and want. You are not his responsibility anymore. What don't you understand? Usually, once the ex is legally remarried, nothing changes except child support, at least in some states. If it's 50-50 custody, neither should give each other any money. Why do women think after a divorce they still should be given money? Why? I don't understand.
I don't really know.
50-50 custody and she's looking for child support. Why will she want his money?
And you say because you had to take the children to school or pick them up, that caused you to be fired.
Correct.
Okay. And did they monitor you when you were online doing this work?
Correct.
Okay. Now, since they fired you and you decided to go back to school, and you have already testified that there's no reasonable, in your opinion, no reasonable part-time job you could have to supplement your income.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you also claim that Mr. Acevedo, you want sort of protection against him because of an incident that happened some years before that we got the divorce. And isn't it true that that incident arose out of the fact that you had voluntarily left the house, abandoned your husband and your children for a period of time, and then suddenly tried to come back and get into the house, which caused the problem? Isn't that?
That is incorrect.
And what is correct?
So I was not locked out of the house. I was actually forced out of the house. There was a police officer that came and did make a report that day.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm not talking about what happened when the police officer came. I'm talking about what caused the incident to occur to begin with. Had you voluntarily...
So that incident that did occur, that had nothing to do with, we were already separated for 2 years, it might have been. And the incident happened because I was a minute late dropping off our daughter. It was her birthday. I had picked her up and I took her somewhere to go and eat, and I was a minute late, and he got upset about that.
Okay, when you left the house, how did you leave? You're trying to tell me that Mr. Acevedo forced you to leave the house?
Correct.
And why did he do that?
That was not the same incident that we're speaking of. So when I did...
No, I'm not speaking about the same incident. I'm saying when you left the house, whether it was 2 years before, 2 years after, why did you leave?
I didn't leave the house. Mr. Acevedo actually locked me out of the house.
And why
did not allow me to get anything, did not allow anything like that.
Okay. And why did that happen? Just because he wanted to do it?
Because he was upset.
And why was he upset?
I couldn't tell you why he was upset.
Oh my God. Stop lying.
She did her best to avoid the question he asked about the reason her ex didn't allow her to enter the house. She decided to talk about the birthday, and then she spoke about the day she was 1 minute late. Those weren't the answers to the question he asked.
Worked all around it.
At this point, she was trying to be smart about it. She understood his question from the start, but it was all about avoiding giving the correct answer. The best part was when she admitted that she wasn't allowed to enter the house because he was upset. However, she claims that she doesn't know why he wanted her nowhere near him. Did she really expect the judge to believe that she had no idea why her ex-husband was upset? Unless something really serious happened, no man would block his wife from entering the house she used to live in. So by saying in court that she doesn't know why he was upset, it says a lot about her. This level of dishonesty won't help her case.
Were you having an adulterous relationship?
I was not.
You were not?
No, I was not.
I see. And so now, Mr. Acevedo and you have been involved with a 50-50 sharing of child custody. And Mr. Acevedo makes sufficient money to support these children much better than you. And he is now got a budget that really doesn't leave him any spare money. And now you think it's fair that you should be able to come in here because you lost your job, whether it was because of the kids going to school, which we have to take your word for, or not. And now you think it's fair that he should somehow give you money to help you support these kids.
This is where her request makes no sense. They are sharing 50-50 custody, but for some reason, she thinks it's fair to get some money from him.
Well, the thing is, even some 50-50 custody, the man is still paying the woman because he makes so much more money than she does. I've seen cases like that too.
Somehow she believes that since they share 3 children, she is also part of his responsibility. But soon she will realize that having a child with someone doesn't give you the right to their money, especially when she already remarried. As an adult, she needs to find solutions for her own issues, instead of trying to pass them on.
It's the remarrying thing. Like, you're married with another man that probably makes decent money because he's an iron worker, and you're still after your ex. What kind of miserable person still tries to harm a person after you've already been 3 years of just let the man live?
To a person who has nothing to do with it. The fact that he is better off financially has nothing to do with what she has going on in her household with her new husband. They will have to solve their financial problems on their own. I don't even know how this request was strong enough to have a case around it when they are sharing 50-50 custody. As a parent with this custody agreement, she should place herself in a position to support herself and their children when they are with her, instead of asking their father to give her money for it when he also has his responsibilities. But why isn't her current husband funding her studies? What is he doing there? Since both agreed that she should stop working, he should come up with a solution for her lack of income.
Correct.
She provided free childcare to him for years, and that prevented her from gaining job experience or having any kind of career. Honestly, she should be allowed to do a 1 or 2 year program. This is
Shut
3
up.
years after their divorce when she is asking for this. And she is remarried as well. No way. Go on, girl, leave that man alone. Every parent figures out how to juggle kids, jobs, and education without getting fired. She makes nothing but excuses.
Yep.
She divorced him and still wants him to support her. Welcome to adulthood. You make your own decisions and you take on the responsibility. Lesson learned. Don't cheat. If you like our video and would like to support us, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It will help a lot.
Sustain.
Okay, repeat the question. I'm sorry.
The question was, the judge heard the testimony of all the parties, and the judge heard the testimony of the amicus attorney. And the amicus attorney, when we made closing arguments, stated that she believed that what the best interest of the children was a 50-50 custody and no child support. The judge took that recommendation along with the rest of the evidence, and she granted a final decree of divorce based on that custody issue.
Ooh, a final decree.
Is that correct?
I do recall that, yes, the amicus did state that.
If that is the case, why are you taking him to court for financial support? If they were told the best solution would be 50-50 custody and no child support, why are they in court talking about his money?
See, all this just cost him money because he has to hire a lawyer. Like, all of this is just financial drain on this man.
I think she is doing this because she knows he is doing better, but this is not how things work. Her chances to enjoy the lifestyle he provided were gone 3 years ago, and this is something she is struggling to come to terms with. Just because he has the money, it doesn't mean that he has to give it. She really thought if she stopped working, he would be obliged to support her financially. But I don't know where she got this information from. Someone lied to her.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, let me go next to you, Ms. Chesters. Technically, you're your own lawyer, so you kind of get the stand and get to tell me whatever else you need to tell me that hasn't been asked strictly related to the issues before the court. So anything else you want to say, ma'am?
I did write a little
Here comes all the
statement,
dumb
if
stuff.
you would allow me to read it.
Well, that's your testimony. Is there any objection, Mr. Mangine? I assume not.
No, I'm not going to object. We
Thank
don't
you.
have a jury present, so it's...
Yeah, I'm going to give some latitude since she's not a lawyer and she's trying to get her testimony in. So yeah, you can read your statement.
I put, Your Honor,
See, like, still the bias in court. I'll give her some latitude since she's not a lawyer. If it was a man, I don't think he would care that he doesn't have a lawyer. That's your fault.
I am writing this letter to request support for my children. I'm a full-time student with previous work with a full-time work. Unfortunately, due to location of the children's school and difficulty of balancing work and school schedule, I was let go of my job to prioritize my children's education and well-being. As a full-time student, my time is divided between attending classes, studying, and taking care of my children. While I'm grateful for the opportunity to further my education, it also comes with a set of challenges, one of them being financial strain. I rely on scholarships, loans, and to cover most of my children's expenses. However, the source of income is not always sufficient to meet their needs.
And how is it his fault?
I have always been a responsible parent and have provided for my children for the best of my abilities. However, with the loss of my job, I am struggling to make ends meet and provide for my children.
Then the children should just go to your husband. Or I mean your ex-husband, the father, that can provide for the children. And just take care of yourself, which you can't even barely do.
It's basic needs. I believe it is in the best interest of the children to receive child support from the other parent. Sincerely, Desiree Chester.
So did she just take herself out of the equation when it comes to supporting her children financially?
Right?
Why would you do something you know will impact your ability to provide for yourself and your kids? She is clearly telling them that she isn't willing to contribute for the next 3 years. And this is the sad part of this case. As a parent, it was down to her to make the right decision. There is nothing wrong with wanting to further your education. but it can't be on the back of another person who divorced you 3 years ago. This is what she didn't understand. She wrote a nice letter, and it was really touching. But at the same time, it shows that she didn't think about her children when she decided to start this course.
Correct.
And this is where the disconnect comes from. If she had them in mind, she would have found another program that would facilitate her ability to keep her job, or at least work part-time. She's so wrong to keep wanting him to support her like when they were married. Too many women want this. It needs to stop.
It does.
It's not his responsibility to take care of you. You are remarried. I know several moms that go to school full-time and have a job. Don't they say women don't need a man? Yes, he paid for your life till you decided you wanted out. So leave and support yourself. She divorced him and expected a free ride because he makes more. You chose the marriage and the divorce. Someone doesn't want to work.
They really
I
don't.
bet when she loses her case, she gets a job.
Okay, we'll move on. Ms. Coates, did you want to call Mr. Acevedo, or do you want defer to Mr. Menchie?
Yes, I'll call Mr. Acevedo, please. Would you state your full name for the court, please?
Marco Adam Acevedo.
And in the 3 years that you've all been divorced, you've maintained a 50-50 custody relationship, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you provide, now, do you own a house?
Yes, sir.
The other thing that I want to bring out is, let's talk about that incident. And I don't want to open a dirty wound and go on for hours, but could you briefly describe the reason that Miss Chesser says that you locked her out of the house?
She had committed adultery. She was basically living with another individual, had abandoned us, myself and the children. And that's why I didn't allow her to come back. And she was basically trying to force her way in the house, being erratic. And I was just looking out for the safety of my children, myself, my home.
It pains me to say, but if the shoes were reversed, I'd be saying the same thing. Is like, how is it fair that he supports you while you decide, or the children more, while you decide to go get a college degree for the future, when you got to duty support now, not at his expense, that you want to go get the degree? And I'd be telling him the same thing if he was here asking child support for you. You got 50-50 split. Why should she pay for you to go to school? I mean, I'm trying to figure out why that would be fair this way.
Okay. I just while we were married, I was a homemaker, so he was the one that provided for us, and I didn't do anything
So you're remarried. Your new husband should be doing that.
else.
She said it perfectly while they were married. He is no longer your husband, so that subject shouldn't be part of the conversation. Why was she still talking about the time she was living with him? That was 3 years ago, and the last time I checked, she was the one who decided to find someone else. Maybe things didn't work out as she envisioned, but it's not his problem. You don't leave and expect to take your ex's lifestyle with you. This is one of those cases where she found out the grass.
I'm sure she found like a Chad Roan type that doesn't make that good of money or whatever it is, but I think iron workers make pretty good money. And now she doesn't live that lifestyle. She has to pay for things herself. Her husband can't afford everything, so she's trying to drain this man.
Grass wasn't as green as she expected, and now she took him to court. It was interesting that she mentioned she was a homemaker. Maybe she believed since he created the environment where she could be a stay-at-home wife while they were together, she was still entitled to it because she is the mother of his children.
Trash.
I really don't know what she was thinking. This is like a man who left his partner and then came back 3 years later, asking her to cook for him because she used to do it when they were together. I know it sounds abnormal, but it's similar to her request.
It is.
Soon she will understand the money and the lifestyle are gone, and now all she needs to do is get used to her new reality. Things will get easier when she accepts that he is no longer responsible for her lifestyle.
Not at his expense, that you want to go get the degree. And I'd be telling him the same thing if he was here asking child support for you. You got 50-50 split. Why should she pay for you to go to school? I mean, I'm trying to figure out why that would be fair this way.
In the end, the judge denied her request. Fortunately, justice prevailed, and he was able to get out of this situation without having to empty his bank account.
I mean, he still had to hire the lawyer.
And now she has the option to get another job or find another course that will give her the opportunity to work. This experience made her understand that she is already an adult and needs to be responsible for the decisions she makes. You can't stop working counting on another person to take care of your responsibilities.
I mean, you can. It's your husband, though, not your ex-husband.
So because she didn't have to work, she expects to still not have to work. Here comes the tears.
I know, I was going to say
Judge
that.
should tell her, I will allow Dad to pay. However, when you get your degree, you got to pay it back with interest. I bet then she would back off. She is sad that he has a house and is happier without her. I can tell by the judge's face she's trying to figure out a way to get her paid. It never fails.
It does.
I hope this outcome
It did
is
look
fair.
like that.
My question is, why is she crying? This is all for today's video, and
We all know why she was crying. That is the easiest way for them to get sympathy, to get, people on their side, people to feel sorry for them, especially lawyers, judges, and all these things. That judge really did look like she was trying to get her paid, but she also couldn't figure out a way, so she had to at least be just on it. But that's the court system. If the judge really wanted to, he probably could have just said it. Or she, or a he, or whatever is the judge, can set whatever they want most of the time. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And I can do it.